As I said, my name is Cassie, and I work for the database development team here at GTT. And we have Shivani here also. We're going to present together, and she is from the engagement and education team. And we are going to talk about KilnSimu beyond equilibrium.
Okay, so after the success story by Professor Pish, we are now very happy to introduce what is KilnSimu. So KilnSimu is a rotary kiln simulation software which was originally developed in partnership between VTT and GTT. VTT is a Finnish research institute, and our colleague Kari works there. And it was originally developed to model cement rotary kilns, and now it includes 10 other process model units. And we have heard about the cement application, but it has several other applications, which are...
Yes, so as Shivani said, we talked about cement already, but we have customers that are doing all of these applications here using KilnSimu. And even more exciting news is the current version of KilnSimu that's coming out now also has vertical shaft kilns. So we have a whole list of other possible applications, such as refractory materials, firing ceramics, that we can start moving into. So the question is, why do you want to use KilnSimu? And I mean, it was already talked about somewhat, right? There's a lot of problems facing today's production processes. There is small profit margins, but also increased variability in your starting feedstock chemistries or fuel chemistries. There's the need to decrease emissions, and you have to reach new properties or very small specification sizes, but you can't have a lot of downtime in your kiln. And there's a lot of companies that have CFD models, right? CFD models show the flame, the gas flow patterns, the stresses on your kiln, but they're missing the thermodynamics. And this is not something that you can just walk into a kiln and take out material and figure out what is happening with it. You can get a FactSage license and you can calculate the thermodynamics. You can also indirectly add in kinetic properties. You can, however, not put in the process parameters that you would see with your exact kiln production. And this is where KilnSimu has its advantage. So it's actually a very unique product because it allows you to calculate the thermodynamics at every point inside your kiln production process, but also takes into account the kinetics and the process parameters of your kiln. And it can be used in conjunction with your CFD models. So it can feed back and forth through CFD models to get out the thermodynamic input that you might be interested in.
Okay, so KilnSimu is the only software that can calculate thermodynamics inside the kiln, and it can be connected with kinetics and CFD models. There are some key features of KilnSimu, so you can actually simulate multiphase chemistry, both in co-current fashion and in counter-current rotary kilns. And it can support direct and indirect heating, and it uses the ChemApp, which is the Gibbs energy minimizer, to perform equilibrium calculations. And there is a wide variety of flexibility in types of fuels, air inlet supports, and it can also support electric kiln heating, and it runs via Windows command prompt. So this is the model scheme of the counter-current rotary kiln. So you can see that, so feed comes in from one side of the kiln, and the air and fuel come from the other side of the kiln. The principle is that the kiln can be divided into a number of cells, and each cell can have its own geometry. So you can set how the inner diameter of the cell, the outer diameter, and it is particularly also useful whether if you want to have a dam inside your kiln and perform a calculation. The principle is that there is a gas phase and a bed phase, and the mass and energy balances are satisfied. And there is also a possibility to recycle the streams. Also, you can introduce fuel, gas, dusting material, or secondary air to any particular location in the kiln, and that is highly flexible. And therefore, you can also, it is possible to also simulate electric kiln. What are the inputs of the KilnSimu? So it has geometry parameters, it has kinetic parameters, also the thermodynamic data that you have that it considers for calculation. And in the output, you have a large amount of thermodynamic intensive and extensive properties. You can have temperature, heat flows, residence time, phase fraction in different phases. And there is a whole list on our website. So if you're interested, please check out on our website. Yeah.
So as we said, and also Alex said, we started out with rotary kilns, right? But we moved on to other process model units also. There are calciners, cyclones, fluidizers. You have the ability to mix and split different flows. You can do different feeds, so you can have multiple feeds going in if you're doing different additives or dusting material. And then you obviously have your product flow at the end. And now, vertical shaft kilns. So we are going to show very, very simply cement production example built in KilnSimu. So that was very great that Alex and Arnie went first so they could talk about it in more detail. If you go to the next slide, while Alex prefers the Excel version, we are showing the ExtendSim interface, which is a bit easier, I think, to visualize. So our basic setup, this is just used as a demo, so it's not from a customer or something. We have 5 different cyclones, so cyclone 1, 2, 3, 4, that actually then cyclone 4 feeds into a calciner, back into another cyclone, then it goes down to the rotary kiln, and then it goes to the cooler. So this is what you would visualize in ExtendSim, but you can click on each of these different process model units and then customize it for your setup, so you control the position of the inputs, the position of any fuels, the position of any product coming out or anything like this, the size of it, the diameters, the rotation speed, the inclination. You can even control the temperature outside of the process model unit. So if you have production facilities in different locations where the outside temperature plays into part. Then you will see like these white boxes here is where you would control the input feed rate. So this is like 10 tons per hour. And then the gray ones are what is coming out as a product. So this is updated as the simulation is run. But I'm not going to go into much more detail. We have a breakout session and also give demos for free whenever you want. So if you want more details. But we're going to briefly show you what the results coming out would look like. So one thing, you can see the results directly in ExtendSim as you're running it, or you can export the results into Excel so you get graphs out. We're going to show you the graphs because this is just a screenshot of ExtendSim.
Okay, so one of the example results, you can get the temperature. So I will explain the plot. So these are the vertical lines. These correspond to cyclone 1, 2, 3, and 4, followed by calciner, then another cyclone, followed by rotary kiln, and then the cooler. So these are the different process model units. And you can see the different lines here, curves correspond to the temperature of the gas, temperature of the bed, temperature of the inner diameter, and also the outer diameter. And so here I show the graph for all the process model units, but it is also possible that if you see that something interesting is happening here, you can zoom into a single process model units and get the desired results that you would like to have. And all the results are fully customizable. The another result example I can show, so similarly here we have vertical lines which show different process model units, and here you see a long list of phases which are the thermodynamic phases that it considers into the calculation for and that are present in the bed phase, and you can see how complex they look like, and it is also possible to find to track your species basically, where they are high, their amounts, and where the amount goes high, where they go low. And also this is for the bed, but it is also possible to find it in the gas phase. In some processes, for example, several additives are added like boron, chlorine, or mercury, so you can also see how an additive transforms into different process model units. You can also see the hold-up profiles, velocities, fuel consumption, and also the rates of species that go from gas to the bed and bed to the gas, and several other results.
So now that we have completely convinced you you want KilnSimu, the question is, what do you need to have in order to run it? So that, first of all, you need to have a FactSage thermodynamic file. So you can either have a FactSage license and make your own CST files at any point for KilnSimu, or you can purchase a CST file from us that will run in KilnSimu. The positive of purchasing just a CST file for KilnSimu is it's a bit cheaper, but if you change at any time what you want to put into your kiln, you have to come back to us and purchase a new CST file. If you have a FactSage license, you can adjust your CST file to whatever you're calculating at that moment. Also, the smaller CST files run a bit faster, so then you can like slim it down to exactly what you're looking at and not have to have a bigger one to look at everything. Then you need a KilnSimu license. The KilnSimu license allows you to put in the process data, and it runs the command shell executable, which is not interactive and uses ChemApp in the background, but this is all included in the KilnSimu license. But the Excel comes with the KilnSimu license at no additional cost. Some people prefer the Excel. I don't, but that's fine. Well, I ran it with the Excel when I was a customer of GTT, but now I prefer the ExtendSim version. But ExtendSim is a third-party software. It requires that you purchase a lifetime license. The cost depends on where you live. It's around €1,000 here. It's one-time fee. You don't have to pay for it every year. But then KilnSimu works completely in it, and you can visualize it better. So what I showed with the flow sheet, this is in ExtendSim. And if you were to do it in Excel, it's just done by rows and columns. So it's a little bit harder to visualize, but you can do it either way. But for KilnSimu license, you can pay for 1, 3, or 6 years, and it comes with a dongle. And if you click one more time, just a summary. So you need a KilnSimu license and a CST file, and you have the option of the ExtendSim interface. And now, just because you want to, you can come and join us tomorrow at our breakout session, or you can email Shivani and get a free demo from us at any time on KilnSimu. We also have a very great website that has all of this information and lots more, because we didn't want to overwhelm you in 15 minutes. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.